The final week of the British Columbia Football Conference regular season is upon us, and the Langley Rams have a big game and a big road trip ahead of them. Their interim head coach, Howie Zarin, joins me now. And Howie, before we look ahead, let's look back. Really big win for you guys at home over the VI Raiders. So what did you see from your club? What did you break down when you looked at the film?
Well, I think our dominant defense, they were amazing. From the front all the way to the back, I think our defense pretty much showed that, they're the best defense in the country.
Best in the country, Howie. That's quite the statement.
Yeah, well, hey, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, fair enough. The All-Stars came out, and the All-Star selections would say that the Okanagan Sun are the best defense, at least in BC. What's your take on the All-Star selections overall and specifically defensively?
We play as a team, Dom. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. But fair to say that you feel like maybe it didn't get the respect you guys deserve there?
We don't care about anybody's respect but our own, so we'll be fine.
Okay. The one guy who did end up on that list was Max Joseph, and I know that you and I have talked about him a lot, but I don't know that everyone is talking about him. It's like everyone knows he's this incredible talent all around, but maybe doesn't get quite the hype that he deserves or maybe should based on his skill level.
Yeah, I guess so. Max has been a little bit banged up too, right? So, he hasn't been full speed in all the games. I know that he dominated in 2 or 3 games this year. So, that could play a part of it as well.
Going into this weekend, you have a chance, if things go your way, it's not in your control, but a chance to get first place overall. Is that a real strong emphasis, something you guys are focusing on? What's the narrative for your group for this week?
Our only focus is to play the team in front of us, right? And then everything else will take care of itself, Our motto is line them up, we'll knock them down. So,
Kamloops played a strong game against the Sun last week. I know the Sun were missing a lot of players, but their group that you would think, considering they don't have a win, should be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Well, they should be, yeah, for sure. I watched the second half of that game, and I'll be honest with you. Everybody kept telling me how many starters the Sun didn't have, and I watched the game, and lo and behold, I saw a lot of starters out there. So, I tip my hat to Kamloops. They went out there and they fought hard.
What do you have to watch for specifically about this Broncos group?
Well, offensively, I really like their running back number 7. He's a tough runner, so we got to keep our eye on him for sure. Defensively, they're not an overly big group, but I think they play pretty sound defense.
This Langley team is interesting. When you look at the stats, they tell one story. When you watch them play, it tells a different story. Like you said, that defensive unit is very good. Duncan Little is a strong quarterback, but as I saw live and with my own eyes in that second half against the Raiders, he has his lapses as well. Is this team where you want it to be right now heading into the playoffs? And that, you always want to peak coming into week 10 and week 11, right?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think, offensively we got a lot to do. I think when we're hitting our stride, we're tough to stop. But our biggest problem is consistency, and that starts with our quarterback, Duncan Little.
Is your defense good enough to make up for that if that consistency doesn't hit that stride you need?
So far, so good. Our defense likes to get after it. So we feel like as an offensive unit, we got some of the best players in the league, whether it's Javon or Max. And you know what? If we can get a little more consistent, I think we'll be a pretty tough team going into the playoffs.
I think it's a fair bet, Howie, that you guys are going to either finish 1 or 2 in the standings. So that leaves either Valley or VI as that first-round matchup. Is there a preference there in any way?
No preference at all, man. I think both teams are a tough challenge. I know Coach Reese and Chilliwack's got those guys humming right now. So they would be a real tough team. And I know the VI Raiders are a little bit banged up and maybe in a little bit of a slump. But you know what? I know Coach Hawking, and I know he'll have those guys ready this week when they play Chilliwack. I wish I could go and watch that game because I think that's going to be a pretty good football game. But as far as a preference, not at all. Both teams are very good clubs.
Okay. Howie, it looks as though Brad Yamoka has dialed in here. Brad, can you hear us all right?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Here, I'll go. Let's go.
Brad Yamoka is on the scene. Howie, I say hi to our bearded friend here.
What's going on, Brad?
Not much. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good.
Well, Howie, I'll ask you to hang with us for a second or two here as I chat with Brad, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Brad, for your group, Howie was just saying, he watched the film. A lot of people talking about how the Sun maybe didn't have all their starters last weekend, but he did see a lot of starters on that field, especially in the second half. And you guys played stride for stride with him. What did you see from your group in that game against the Sun last weekend?
Well, I think they finally, I thought, the guys finally started believing in what they can accomplish. And I think it was probably one of our best games overall as a team, like all three facets of the game. And, they played hard, right? And they played their hearts out. So, unfortunately, we fumbled late in the game there. And maybe if we don't do that, things might have been a bit different. But, it was a great effort by our guys. And, I mean, it's a positive step in the right direction, that's for sure.
What does it say, Brad, about the character of your group after everything they've been through this season to go into a Week 9 matchup at 0-8 against a team that has, given you guys so much trouble over the years, and to play that kind of a gutsy effort in their barn as well? What does that say, Brad, about your group and the character of your kids?
Well, I think, like I've said this all year, I mean, we got a good group of kids. We're just young, we're inexperienced, and I think the learning curve for us has started to really take off. And, hopefully we can translate that into what will happen, next season. So, it's just they practice hard every day. They don't give up. It's not a negative feel at practice at all. And I think, like you said, it's a great character and a great quality to have in young men like this. And we're looking forward to what can happen in the future.
Howie, you've been through some tough years as a head coach with Valley and with the Huskers there. I think a bit of what Brad's going through up in Kamloops this year. What's it like, even just looking sort of from the outside in on the scenario and based on your own experiences?
I just think as far as the team goes, you just got to make sure everybody's having fun and they're getting better every week. The wins are obviously pretty tough this year for Kamloops, and, I've had to go through that as well. So, I think as long as the guys stick together and they're having fun, they can build something for next year.
Howie, we touched on it before Brad checked in, but he's here now. Again, maybe just reiterated, especially with Brad on the scene here, what you got to be aware of with this Broncos team.
Well, like I said, I really like their running back. That number 7 runs real tough. So I think we'll definitely be keen on him as far as our defense goes. And as far as their defense is, they're not a big group, but I think they do play some sound defense, and they proved it against us 2 weeks ago and last week against the Sun.
Brad, Howie made the statement, the Langley Rams' best defense in the country, and that is certainly his right to say that and believe that for his team. What have you seen from that Ram defense? Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, you know what, they got some talent over there, that's for sure. And a couple of weeks ago, like you said, we went down there and, they gave us some problems. And, I would say they got probably one of the better defenses in the league for sure. Their front 7 is kind of their strength, I believe, anyways. Like I said, we struggled with them last week or a couple of weeks ago, and, hopefully we're going to put a few new things in to help us out with some of the issues we had.
All right, gentlemen, I appreciate your time here. Brad, thanks for joining us. Howie, thanks for sticking around. Guys, enjoy the final week with your clubs of this regular season. And again, especially for you, Brad, I really appreciate all your time that you've given me this season.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. See you soon, Brad. Thanks, Dom.
Thanks, Howie.
Okay, bye.